Yo, what's up, my goons? It's your boy BC Bader, and welcome back to another episode of the Bate Escape podcast. You know, the podcast dedicated to all things soul sexuality and goon culture. What's up? What is going on? How are you feeling today? It's been 2 long weeks since we've last connected, and I'm so happy that you are back for another episode of the pod, bringing you conversations about soul sexuality, masturbation, health, and all that good stuff. And today's episode is a really fun one. I am joined on the pod by Jason Wimberly, who is the creator, owner, director of NuWorld, which are retreats that happen in the woods. These retreats are held to empower men and get connected more with themselves through masturbation. And it was really, really cool conversation to talk to Jason about why he does this type of work. We talk about a lot of things. His transition from like celebrity fitness world to doing these retreats, going through a really devastating loss of a friend that helped empower him to create these retreats, and just really fun stuff about his opinions on masturbation and how it should be more social, and just de-shaming his own sex in his own life. So it was a really great conversation to have, and I really hope that you enjoy this conversation because I think you're really gonna like it. As always, I thank you so much for following, subscribing, and sharing and commenting on this podcast. It just helps with more visibility. Go check out Jason and his work over at NuWorld.men. It's spelled NuWorld.men. So NuWorld.men. And you'll learn a lot about what he's doing and all the things that he offers on these retreats. So thanks again for joining. I really hope that you enjoy this conversation. Let me know what you think. Hey, what's going on, Jason?
How are you? How are you? I don't know your first name. I just realized. Joy?
It's Beastly.
Beastly. I'll call you Beastly. That works for me. How's your day going?
Okay, my lips are chapped, so I'm putting on some Beta Balm.
Oh yeah, I'm literally.
This stuff works so great on like chapped lips and elbows. It's the best.
Really, I haven't tried it yet. Obviously, everyone talks about it.
The Beta Balm? Oh yeah, I think you would love it.
Yeah, I hear it's very popular. I like albaline and coconut oil for sure.
Coconut oil, yeah, for sure. I stopped using Albolene because like Albolene just wouldn't claim us as like masturbators. Like there was a whole controversy about it, and I was like, why the fuck am I fucking with Albolene when I could like fuck with Beta Balm? That dude's showing off his
It is
dick.
weird. They obviously know. I mean, they know at this point, so I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, exactly right. Which is the reason why I think that was like the catalyst. Like Beta Bomb, like Albaline denied us, and then Beta Bomb was like, "Well, fuck that! Like, I can make a product and I can like showcase it," and then that was born.
For sure. I mean, that's sort of how I started doing what I'm doing too. It's all about not letting people shame us into thinking about bad about our bodies or any of it. It's like
That's exactly
you
right.
know, we're using it for our dick, so let us have fun with it. So they make so much money. I've literally sent outgoing to my dad before.
Like to try it for masturbation.
Yeah, I was like, "Have you heard of this before?" He goes, "No, what is this?" I said, "I'm going to send it to you for Christmas." So I just finished a workout.
And how were the reviews from Dad? Loving it.
Loved it. He also likes coconut oil, so we're
Oh,
in the same squad.
oh, there you go.
Maybe I'll get him Beta Bomb for the next Christmas.
But Beta Bomb, yeah, I feel like he's really giving. Like he's really cool in the community. Like I'm sure he'll hook you up.
Cool. Oh, yeah, I'll check it out.
So have you just been working all day, working out and edging all day?
Pretty much. So I spend most of my time. It's a good life. I've been a
Yeah,
trainer and a dancer
yeah, it
for a
feels like a
long
really
time.
sweet life. Well, I was researching your website and I was doing a
Yeah,
little investigative research, but also too, like
yeah.
you gave like a really great um high view of like who you are as an individual and like your background. I found it really interesting.
Thank you. I've done a lot of stuff in the fitness community in a lot of different ways, and I've worked with drag queens. I've worked with celebrities. I've done all kinds of like aesthetic things, and I had some personal things that I went through, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of what I experienced was had shame as a tone around it.
Mm-hmm.
So this new venture has sort of evolved for me, and it's like it's been healing in so many ways and really helped other people release certain shame around enjoying their bodies freely, or there's a it's funny because I'm not really in the bait community as much as
Uh-huh.
others, but I want to be because I want to understand everyone's point of view.
Well, that's interesting because I just feel like being a masturbation advocate, like what I would have thought, like I would have thought
I
you'd
don't
be in,
I like to my thing is I don't really follow a lot of people. I had fans of ours told me to follow you. For me to create things, I really need to sort of stay in my own lane. And
sure,
that's just how my head works. So I don't really
sure.
know. I'm not super involved. I'm trying to get out there more. I'm trying to talk to people. That's how I reached you.
Yeah,
Um, Beyond just my own channels.
got it. Well, I feel like you're definitely in the right place.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I mean, it takes time for sure. I feel like the community is interesting that way. Like they'll see someone new and they'll just be like, well, who is this person? Like, what are they about? And I feel like it's definitely taking some time to kind of build the community and kind of like get like the views and just be like, okay, like he's legit or he's honest and authentic in what he's doing. And I feel like I got that from your work or the website and the different things that you're doing. Beautiful website, by the way.
Thank you. And
And it
that's the
looks like
best compliment.
a really gorgeous getaway.
Well, I did it on myself, and I always say if someone reads anything on the website, the words, the photos, it's all out of my brain. I write it all, I shoot it all. So it's like if you like it, we're gonna get along. It's always been my focus and how I reach people.
Yeah.
So I love to hear that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I find that more inspiring than having it be some like big organization because I feel like it's much more heartfelt. Like you have more investment in it, right? Like it's really you on the line being like, hey, this is really authentically me. And again, I think that just takes time to just build that community for yourself. But I feel like you're doing a really great job of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. The nudist community, I felt in Canada in the nudist community, there was a lot of nudist organizations really askew against anything sexual. And
Mm,
my brand mission is really to reframe how we think about masturbation. It's not a sexual act; it's a social act. So for me, I don't consider it even sexual. It's something that can be done across perceived sexual orientations, across genders. Um, so I was really, not accepted for not really being into or not being platonic only. The nudist community wants that platonic. And so what really started was we did regular fitness classes and I had men and women teaching and it was naked fitness. But there were so many questions and answers and emails about guys' dicks. Like, what if I get hard? What if this happens? And I just was like, why are we so concerned? And hello, if you get hard while you're working out, congratulations. It's really good for your circulation.
mm.
So, congratulations, because it's generally not what happens, right? If you're working out hard, the last thing's going to
I
happen is a plan.
I do not get an aroused erection when I'm working out. I feel like I'm too.
No,
I'm like, why is this hurting my body? Rather than be like, oh, this feels really sexual to me.
for sure. And a lot of guys have these emails and questions about it. And I thought, well, why don't we just create programming where they can be whatever version of that without shame or without this burden? And so it evolved from just stuff to now I created a whole class called ball yoga where we literally would stretch our balls and massage them in different ways for like 40 minutes. And we did some other stuff, stretching and yoga, but it was about really bringing intention into our bodies. And as a
Hmm.
trainer, that's what it is for me. Masturbation is just like another tool to access the pleasure of the body and different mindsets. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated with is with humans is how to make them enjoy movement. And I thought we should jerk off more often when we move.
I am fully on board with that.
Well, it's
But I feel
interesting
like
though, because
you come across to me as a very embodied person, though. Like, I feel like you're very in tune with your body. I mean, obviously, your years of fitness, but like, had you always known
yeah,
that about yourself? Have you always been like embodied person?
yeah, it's sort of my gift. I've taught 8,000 fitness classes. I've been doing this my whole life. I'm 43 and I've been doing this for 25 years.
Wow.
So for
Okay.
me, it's literally like it's all I do, and I wasn't always. I wasn't always teaching circle jerks, but
Right.
over the years it's evolved because I just realized there was so much shame, and the story's much deeper how I got here, but it really was. I was trying to access a space where I could really just changed what we even thought about masturbation. And a lot of the bait
Yeah.
community, what I see, they really, it's obviously porn heavy. And so my work is just a different opportunity to connect to your body, and neither are
Yeah.
right or wrong. They're just very different.
Yeah, no, I agree to that. I feel like I did that for a while. Like I was very sexual in the beginning because I feel like that was kind of like my lead way in. Like, hey, listen, if you're gonna show your body online, people are gonna follow and watch and look because it's a naked body. People, sex sells, right? But I think ultimately for me, when I go back to the reason why I even started the work is really again to like de-shame a lot of the things that I felt about my body. And like looking
Yeah.
at someone like you um it's contradiction to what I would think would be accepting of different bodies. And that's just me, that's my first reaction. And that's me being real and transparent and vulnerable with you. But like watching you and the work that you do, and I'm just like, oh, like what is he really teaching? Like what is he really trying to inhabit with other men? But then reading the things on your website, I was like, oh, okay, this is really curious to me. Like you're trying to teach men to love their bodies. So I'm curious to know like how you do that in these retreats.
Yeah, it's now we work in a really intimate space. It's a family property of mine. It's 18 acres and it's breathtaking. There's no cell service, there's no technology. So for a week, we disconnect from reality. And I created what I call the three pillars of male wellness. It's movement, meditation, and masturbation. And I think all three of those should be practiced daily. And while I have to show off I use my body because it's mine and it's how I can promote sort of my ideas, but I stopped selling adult content a while ago. I realized a lot of my clients had dependency on it. I didn't want to contribute to that, but I show myself.
Mm.
I'm never really, rarely looking at camera, rarely engaging. It's more just like spectator, showing a different way to masturbate, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, I'm so proud of myself that all sizes feel welcome. And if you look at the photos and the guests who come, all sizes, all ages, dick size is small. I mean, I think men know after they talk to me, they're going to be welcome. And we have a lot of guys who would consider themselves on the small side, and they've been too ashamed to go anywhere else. But they know they're going to be welcome at my event, and we're all going to jerk off together, and we're all going to have a fun time and enjoy our bodies exactly as they are. But
Yeah.
then I also teach them we got to work to be better because everything in our body works better with more movement. So I try and get the medicine in with the sugar, or whatever, however that saying goes.
I
Make them
I
work out.
no, I agree with that and I do feel it when I do work out. So for me like movement and working out has always been like a hard point in my life. I don't know why that I have such a love-hate relationship with it because I feel like I don't know, like it's too nebulous right now to kind of focus on it. But the point I was trying to make was like I do feel better when am active in my body. And I do feel more sexual when I am more embodied. And more embodied means like, doing weights and kind of watching my, where my weight is and like working out and like stretching, I feel like really does help in that embodiment. And I feel like when I do pick it up after I haven't done it in weeks, I do feel better. And I constantly have to remind myself of like, hey, you're gonna feel better after you do this thing. But like, I don't know. I feel like the trick is to like just constantly do it, which is hard.
I mean, you just told yourself the answer, but it is really hard, and it's human nature to not. And that's
Yeah.
why I have a career doing helping people believe it and when people find the love in movement. Because for me, it really is about the love. I have
Mm,
been through so many bad things in my life, like most of us have. And if I didn't have movement and masturbation and meditation to get me through it, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Like those things can empower
yeah.
you beyond any struggle in today's life or in your daily life.
Mm.
So you said it all though. You just got to do it.
It's just like where's the motivation coming from?
I don't think it's motivation. I always tell people momentum's much more important than motivation because motivation, I don't always want to do it. Like there are
Mm,
days when you don't have to do it either. But our bodies really are how we experience the world. And when they operate at optimal levels by doing these three things daily, everything is better. Everything is better. Like the amount of anxiety we have is, I'm sure, very directly related to the amount of inactivity we have in people. There's this like we're all on screens, we're all connected to all everything, but really not connected to ourselves. And
Mm.
so during the events, we do a lot of weird stuff. Like, actually, can you pause a second? I have the heater on and I can tell I'm getting hot.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
1 second, hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm naked and it's chilly in here. So I thought, oh, I'll turn the heater on.
But then it gets like too hot. My heater in my
Exactly.
apartment is like a fucking furnace, and I got to crack open a window, and then I'm like, okay, now it's too cold.
Yeah, and there's one like right by me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm sweating on over here. More than I already was. Sorry. Sweaty, sweaty. Um, so yeah, it's like momentum's more important. You got to just do it. And like you said, you'll if you just keep doing it, the rewards happen. And
Like a
it's
discipline.
my whole life. Yeah, just do it. It's sort of like I think that not everyone has that bone, and that's why there's people like me to help people do it.
That's how I feel about
I
masturbation. Just do it.
I do too. I think people should always masturbate together. I think friends should masturbate
Maybe
together.
that
I think
maybe that's a trick. Like I should discipline myself how I discipline in masturbation. If I just do it every day, I'd get better at this
it's
thing.
literally the same thing.
Take
You
my
know,
baiter powers into my fitness. I should
well,
just
no,
really practice what I preach. I'm an asshole. No, I'm kidding.
it's hard. It's really hard. I know how hard it is for people. But so in my mind, how do I make it easier? How do I make people want to do this thing that's hard that they would really do if they love themselves? And I always sort of think of this
Hmm.
important moment is that love isn't what's convenient. Love is most often about what's inconvenient. Are you going to, this morning my husband left on an early flight. I woke up at 4 to drive him to the airport. That's not convenient for me, but that's love.
Mm-hmm.
He could have taken
That
an
is
Uber. So
love.
he could have taken an Uber, but I went to LAX at 5:30 in the morning because
Oh,
that's love.
that's true
That's
love. LAX. Fuck.
but listen, so it's the same thing in your body and how you treat yourself. It's like it's not always convenient or fun, but do you love yourself enough? Because you know it's going to be better when you do it. And then everything in the body is that way. It's like every part of the body responds to force, every part of the body responds to touch. So we do a lot of self massage, we do a lot of just touching our bodies in different ways than most men are used to. Most guys really sort of focus on one thing and they don't embody the experience as much. So I do a lot of touch and we have a lot of exercises to get into our bodies, more a lot of breath work.
Yeah.
And then it's just finding the fun in it. And I think boners are fun. Like,
Boners are
if
hella
we can,
fun.
we're in the woods and we're stretching and we're edging and we're grunting. And it's about really getting primal, which is obviously a big word for anybody who likes jerking off. But that feeling of this is like an animal thing that we need to do. I think people
Yeah.
should do it more together. I think
Yeah.
all people should do it together.
Yeah, I'm all about group fun. I think group fun is good to know. The more the
Well,
merrier.
yeah, and like all large mammals, it's the primary form of bonding.
Is that true? Where's the data?
Yeah,
I need
I'll
to
send
see.
it
I
to you.
need.
It's
Oh,
in my
okay,
new book.
perfect.
Dolphins, giraffes,
Dolphins for
lions.
sure. Dolphins for sure. I could see it.
Dolphins jerk off together. Dolphins even have been documented fucking other things in the ocean, like fish heads and like other things they find.
What the fuck?
Lions, lions hump each other. Giraffes do this whole thing called necking, where they wrap their necks around each other. But it's
Ooh,
a lot of what's called gay behavior in animals is hidden because it's shameful.
right.
When really it's just boys playing with their dicks together. And animals are the same way. It's
Well,
wild.
we aren't we a part of the animal kingdom?
That's what I mean. And we're the same as them. So it's like we should operate as it shouldn't be the same. The bonobos are 98% our DNA. Their primary form of social activity is masturbating together. Older, young men, women, but primarily older bonobos and the young ones.
Yeah, it's like lineage, teachings,
Generational. Yeah. It's
generation.
interesting.
It's
And
so
then
interesting.
a lot of ancient cultures were that way. Greece, Rome, masturbation
Mhm.
was a societal norm.
Yeah.
And now it's a sort of hidden thing. So a lot of our work is really about doing it in nature, barefoot when possible, in the sun when possible. We don't shower at the retreats, so we can really like disconnect from even. It's weird that humans always want to change themselves, whether we're putting on deodorant or shaving our bodies. We try and hide our animal side in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
at the retreats, we don't shower. We go in the river every day, and there's a freshwater creek, but we really try and get as connected to the earth as possible.
Hmm.
And it's amazing when you really connect to like the trees and the vibration of the earth and the sound of the birds and like the sun on your balls. You're the hardest, most aroused you've ever been. But for a lot of people, it's hard to even like go and experience it that freely because they're, always looking around or like just worried. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like anxiety inducing to like be naked in front of other people if you're not comfortable already within the self. But I
For
feel like
sure.
a lot of that has to like, especially with men, you know, and I'm generalizing men here. We're not taught to like embody those things, right? We're not taught to like be in tune with our sexual being selves, like in a way that's like maybe is softer a good word?
Gentler. I use that word a lot about being
Gentle.
like
Yeah, more
kind to
gentle.
ourselves. Be nice. How you talk to yourself. Even when you say things like, I'm not good at doing this workout, or I'm overweight to do this. Like it's already a negative vibration. You're never going to have a positive outcome by starting negative. That's what I always tell my clients.
Hmm.
Even as a trainer without masturbation, I wouldn't put clients on a scale. I would ask them how they want to feel at the end of our time together. I didn't care about the look as much. And same thing comes to masturbation. You can look at like, what do you want to get out of it? Like,
Yeah.
can you take it to a different level, or are you comfortable just in this one little zone? And both are great, but I think that there's a huge opportunity for self-embodiment to have a masturbatory group experience. It's totally free, like
Yeah.
totally free, where no one's going to walk in, where there's no screens, where you're just listening to the sound of each other like animals. And I'm sure you've been in plenty of circle jerks.
Plenty.
There's really nothing quite like it. And I always say it's like dancing or like it's a group energy. And it's weird. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to a place where we just think of jerking off as like, just, yeah, always do it and always have fun with your friends and do it. So at the retreats, like boners or wherever you want to jerk off at the breakfast table, like we're
Yeah.
fully safe space. It's really fun.
Well,
Because
you
most
also,
guys,
mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to mention that you also do, like I was reading the website, you also keep it very small. Like you only have about six participants in each retreat.
Yeah, we started with larger events and I had like 12 to 15 guys. And I did like
Yeah.
14 of those, but they were at a nudist resort and I guess I needed the space, and
Right.
it didn't allow for as much penis time because we were in public spaces, kids around, women around.
Got it.
So now to keep it really intimate and allow for that cock bonding to happen, we're only six guys at a time, and it's a little bunk house. The house is not glamorous, but we have an amazing gourmet chef. So like you feel like you're at a five-star resort,
I saw
and
the
we have eight.
pictures of the food. It looks so good.
Oh, it's so good. He's in San Francisco. He drives down and does all the food for us. And
Nice.
then we had 18 acres. And we're outside all day. We're outside pretty much all day. We have a freshwater creek. There's boulders we climb on. We live naked in the woods. It's so much fun. But yeah, this smaller house was a new thing because it puts people in a really intimate space together.
Yeah.
And it does, and that was hard to figure out how am I going to navigate personalities? Because when we're in a bigger group, if someone was not feeling well or whatever, it'd be sort of easy to keep the group going.
Yeah.
So now we just have a more in-depth onboarding process where I get to know everybody a lot more before they come. In the past, it was sort of like if you read the website and you signed up, I'll see you there. And now
Got
it's
it.
like now that we're in one house, I want to make sure we have a conversation much like this, and we can talk about ideas and what they're doing in their life and make sure they're the right vibe because we're all going to be in a tiny house together for a week.
No, I think that's super important. I feel like setting the tone and expectations and making sure that everyone feels, I mean, you're essentially creating a safe space. I feel like you have a lot of um not pressure, but like you're the one setting the tone, right? So people are looking to you to make sure that everyone is in a safe space. Talking about safe spaces, I'm sure there's a lot of like emotional energy that's coming up in these people that go to your retreats. Like what's manifesting? Like what are some of the things that are people are processing and how do you handle that?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, we've had multiple guests who were straight at the beginning or had been married to women, and I was like their first foray into anything in this realm, and then would come out at a retreat further on. A lot
Oh
of guests
wow.
they come back every year, and they like accredit their entire journey to these retreats. So there's definitely transformative things that happen, and in the first couple of years, I focused on just new experiences. Every day, we should have as many first experiences as possible. And
Hmm.
it became more cock-centric because I feel like there's also a world where we want to have more of this, and it's not always easily accessible in safe spaces with limits and in this way. So I try and create spaces where everyone has their alone downtime for their emotional processing. We journal every day, so that's a big part of
Oh,
it. So
nice.
we talk about our feelings. We talk about what is coming out. Because even the workouts, you know, like you might think you can do stuff, but we hike every day and we do push our bodies because that's going to benefit every working system in your body. And if I have
Right.
you for 5 days, we're going to do it all. We're going to do it all, you know? But with journal, we paint. We do this really great exercise where we paint our own dicks, and we all like discuss why we chose the colors and why it looks this way. And then at the end, we all circle up and come on them, and everyone takes home this little souvenir. It's really fun.
That's fun.
It's, you know, it's all about changing the way you look at yourself. Even like, did you draw it bigger than you think it is, or did you draw it smaller? Like all these things. What kind of this is just a study in self embodiment, like you keep talking
Yeah.
about.
So like do you have like so every day there's like a different thing to do? Like is that how you plan out the retreats?
Yeah, so it starts with morning workouts. You know, well, it starts with breakfast and some meditation and stretching. And there's always a big group workout. The afternoons, we have lunch and we spend the afternoon by the creek, usually jerking off and having fun. There's always a creative aspect too. I think it's really important to do creative things.
Yeah.
So whether they're painting or clay making, and it's all usually very dick centric. So I have like a test jacuzzi, which is a little jacuzzi for your balls. So if you want to put your balls in jacuzzi, you can do that. You know, it's like we play fun games and do stuff with our dicks all day. And for me, that's really what it's all about. When I was young with my cousins and stuff, we would all jerk off together in the woods as young boys. And it was just about having fun with our own bodies. We weren't ever like doing it together. So I'm sort of trying to
Yeah.
bring that experience back of like just have fun, just enjoy your body free. And try and keep it as light as possible for all the emotional processing that people go through. So there's, and then we dance a lot too. We try and dance by the bonfire at night. That sort
Oh,
of
that
helps with
sounds
the mood.
fun. Like a
Naked
big
line
old
dancing is really fun.
naked line dancing. Oh, I'd like to see that.
It's hilarious. I'll send you some photos.
So like what I'm curious to know like what made this transition? Like you were in the celebrity fitness world, like you know, reading your bio, you were like in this atmosphere. Like I'm curious to know like what you know, you don't have you can speak about what makes you comfortable, but I'm curious to know like what made this transition over to like more like sexual body focused work.
Yeah, it was a really specific event. Actually, my best friend Andrew died in my arms.
Oh,
Um, his name is on my wrist, and it's him
yeah.
there. He died of stage 4 cancer within 4 months of diagnosis, and
Mm.
I was his primary caretaker. So I was there every day, changing diapers, doing it all. And to reconcile how this beautiful young soul left us so early, I really, you know, had to examine a lot of things that I know and my understanding of the world. And I believe more than anything as a trainer, our emotions affect our physical reality. How we process emotions, how we hold on to them, turns up in our physical self somehow. And I honestly think emotional issues and trauma are the root of most cancers. And in Andrew's case, that was true. He, without disclosing too much of his personal information, you know, he had some very traumatic experiences that he hid from everybody in his life for 7 years. And they were
Mm.
sexual experiences, and he was, you know, put in unsafe positions. And he carried that shame for so long. And he was so ashamed of it and the results of what happened that he didn't want his family to know. And there are two people that know to this day, and that was his dying wish that no one knows the shameful secret that he had.
Hmm.
And so my reconciliation of that was that that shame is really what made his cancer so aggressive. And knowing that his shame was around something that happened with his body and sex and all this stuff, I started just diving into what could I really give to the world that what people weren't, other people weren't doing. And I think I have a special skill for making people in my presence feel really loved and welcome. And I know it sounds so silly, but that can be a part of releasing shame too, is just feeling totally safe, feeling totally like you're able to be yourself. And Andrew was never able to let go of the secret, and I think it really killed him. So I had my own shameful things that held on to me all life. Part of it being a nudist, part of it being this guy who likes to show off his body sometimes, or whatever I like to do that people say is weird. I
Hmm.
always felt shame about it. You know, like I love being naked. I've been naked my whole life. My senior trip of high school, I got my entire senior class to get naked. And we called it Naked Fest 2000. Men, women, like boys, girls, everybody. We're in
Jeez.
high schools in high school, but like I've always been that wild nature guy. And for me, we were out in the desert. I was like, let's get naked. We're in the desert.
Yeah.
So there was this tragedy, and my way of understanding was just to rely on everything I know from Eastern religion and how the body works. And I really think that shame, beyond any other emotion, manifests the most in the body in negative ways. And that's how I got to this point. It's like I had things I was shamed about that I've been shamed about my whole life, about liking to be naked or whatever it is. So much shame. I had a point in my life where I've done sex work, and a lot of us have been in a low point and had to survive. And for a long time, I felt shame around that because there's no low point in it. But I felt it, and now I look back at it as a point of empowerment because I was able to do something to get through a hard time. Not everybody has that opportunity.
Sure.
But it was about, I had to be honest about all those things for them to release my shame. And I wanted to then help more people so that when you watch somebody die literally in your arms and their last breath and last words to you, I love you, it really changes how you see everything. And it just sort of woke me up. And if I told myself, if I can, I literally thought my industry was closed too. Fitness was closed for years. Gyms were closed in LA. I had lost everything. Andrew died. I'd gone through this massive lawsuit. My life was crazy. And I said, time is short. Like, if I can help even a few people feel better about their bodies and how they see themselves, that's what I'm going to do. And I teach in-person classes. We do these retreats. The retreats are so rewarding because it allows for the like deep dive into it. But it's my purpose in this is very deep. And so you can tell I'm obviously very excited about why I talk about it. But then I
Yeah.
try and market it in a way that's a little bit lighter and fun because you can't get people like these are big topics to go to right away.
Yeah, I mean, like the catalyst can be really meaningful and deep and personal. And I think that's, again, I think that's what's so, I think people who do that are much more successful because it does really come from an honest place. Like you've been through this really hard tragedy. Um, I can relate to that. Like my life, for the most part, has been pretty dark. But I think taking that and transforming it into a positive outlet. And like my whole spiel has always been like when I think back again on the deep level of it, it really is about building community, right? To like say that you're not alone in this masturbation world, that you're not alone in liking these things, that you can find community and I think for a long time I was like, well, what am I giving? Like I'm taking so much from this. Sure, it can happen in the beginning because I'm learning about it, but like how can I give back? And so, doing this podcast and like, doing an Instagram and doing like all these really fun things, like that's me trying to build a community. And I think when I think back on it, that's what propels me forward. That's what empowers me to keep doing the work that I do. And it sounds like you're in the same boat. Like you had this event happen in your life, it impacted you so profoundly, and you thought, God, I want to be able to give back now. So you have this retreat. And I think that's what's really humbling, that like really great things can come from like these really dark moments in our lives. It's like, how do you change the perspective? How do you empower yourself? Like, how do you, in so many ways, like you are creating this legacy for your friend because you're giving back to others to like de-shame that because you saw the impact that it could cause.
Yeah, it's thank you for sharing and thank you for saying all that. Like
Yeah.
it is about sharing and trying to help people just feel available and seen and all these things. Men, I think, got a bad rap in a lot of the way we talk to ourselves, how we talk about what we should do, like how we talk to our bodies. It's just that we got a bad rap in a lot of ways, and there is so much pleasure and nirvana inside our bodies and inside our minds. I always sort of I've never been bored a day in my life. I always tell people I don't understand the idea of boredom because there's so much going on in my inner world all the time. And if not there, you have a body. Like, how could you be bored? Touch your body. Like, it's like the
Yeah.
first thing. It's like everything feels good. Like, the more you do it, and most guys just are sort of lacking that freedom. So it's been a really fun journey and it's evolved for me. Like, I've had to learn what works for me. I tried teaching a lot of these classes online. It didn't work for me because I didn't have the connection through the screen as much. When I teach them live in LA, it's like, to have 15 guys moving naked in a room is amazing.
Yeah.
It's evolved, and it's I'm constantly trying to find new ways to reach everybody. So thank you for allowing me to enter your community.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that way about like camming. Like a lot of masturbators like to cam online and they're like you can get off doing this kind of thing, but like it doesn't get off to me. It doesn't feel the same when I'm in person because I think in person you get the energy, the visceral, like you can touch, you can feel, and you can see, and like if you are so inclined to like help a bro out, you could do that, and I can't do that in a digital screen, and it feels I don't know, it just feels less impactful, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's just not my or not my forte. I've tried like, and when I'm teaching, there's so much I'm trying to communicate that my dick doesn't always work the way I want it to or should in that moment. There's a lot of other things I'm focused on besides my own pleasure when I'm teaching a class. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. The connection for me is not behind a screen. I think a lot of younger generations definitely are. They grew up with it. I'm older, so I'm not really as.
No, I feel you.
I mean, I guess
We're in the same age bracket.
my early '80s, baby.
I
But yeah, so it's
agree.
been
I agree.
and even in I teach like classes every now and then in LA. And there was this period where I figured out how do we get to this point where we can all jerk off together as strangers in a room and keep everybody in a safe space. And it was hard in the beginning, I didn't know what to do. And now we have a process where after we do the workout in the core and the stretch, there's this whole pelvic floor activation. We start edging, and everybody lays on their back. And at that point, I go around the room and I put a towel over everyone's eyes, like actually one of these little black towel, and I lay it over everyone's eyes. And
Yeah.
I hand them some Abilene. I usually put on their dick for them if they need a hand. But then I walk around the room and everyone has their eyes covered, and I turn off all the music and I encourage everyone to be as loud as possible. So you have the
Mm.
energy connection, but you're really focused on your own pleasure instead of looking at what everybody else is doing and trying to even go somewhere else. It really forces the inward experience. And when I started covering guys' eyes in class and not telling them to be loud, within 2 minutes, like everybody comes, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to when and it's this like group release. And at the end, it's perfect because I'm like, take this off, wipe it off, and now we're gonna cool down.
Yeah.
It's a great class.
It sounds amazing.
It
I
combines all my favorite things.
I feel like sound has been something that I've struggled with myself, like even in my own masturbation practice. Like I struggle to like be vocal. And people have commented on it before, and I've never really noticed that about myself. I'm I tend to be more quiet in my masturbation, and it's something that I'm trying to unpack within myself. It's like, why can't I rejoice? Like, why can't I be loud? And I feel like all my life I've just kind of been like, um, people have a control over that. Like I've always been like a very boisterous person. But I feel like people have just been like, oh, you're being too much. And I feel like that's always been like a source of shame for me. Like it's being too much in this thing.
Mm.
Which has been really interesting. So like that seems very enticing to me. To like give it be have allowed be given the space, just be like be as loud as you fucking want, make all the noises you can, like just kind of let it out and kind of like let your body naturally release what it needs to do. Just being able to be in a safe space to be able to do that, I feel can be really profound.
For sure. And all my work is really rooted in science. And we know scientifically that exerting noise, grunting, groaning, there's a reason there's noises in karate. We know that when we make noise with a physical motion, it increases our strength. And that can be for like a chop or a curl. So my
Really?
thing is like, yes, it's proven it can
Wow,
increase strength output by like 12% or higher.
that's a
By
lot.
grunt, I know. I always say if you're not grunting during your workout, you're not loud enough, or you're not doing it right. And if you're not grunting while you're masturbating, you're not doing it right. Like you're missing a whole output element, and it's going to increase all the sensations. It's going to increase everything. There's like a connection between your breath and growls and grunts and getting loud. It impacts your whole body. So that's the freedom though, being in nature and in an 18-acre property is that you can, get as loud as you want and there's no one to worry about besides our group of guys at the retreats or our group of guys in a class. It's really cool.
It's so therapeutic.
Oh, for sure. And it's wild because I'm so loud during workouts and I'm so loud during masturbation and sex. Like I have to reel it in. Like I'll be at the gym with my headphones on, like I see people laughing, like, oh, am I moaning? Am I okay? Like, yeah,
Uh-oh.
you're screaming, dude. But like I'm just in it. And same if I'm jerking off, I get so much more embodied and so much more pleasure if I close my eyes and moan and groan and
Yeah.
just am really in it. The noise helps you be even more embodied too, because you're gonna feel it in your whole body.
Yeah, that's true. I do feel like when I do have those moments where I'm like not in my head, I'm really more into my body and my penis, and I do kind of release it and get to that Goonie vibe stage and I'm more vocal, it definitely is like a more impactful like ejaculation or a much more impactful like extended state of self-pleasure for sure. Um,
For sure. I
I
think
want to
even
have it
I
be
was
like
gonna
the
say,
first thing. uh,
I even think masturbating with porn can sort of I have nothing against porn. I think it's just anything that makes your dick hard is sacred. But like if you rely on porn too much to masturbate, it can get to the point too where when you're so focused outwardly on what's on the screen, you're really not focused on yourself and your breath, and you're probably in the same position, and it's like that's why I post videos of myself masturbating, because I try and show my body moving and I'm not looking at a screen, I'm breathing heavily and like just sort of allowing that freedom. And I get so many messages, which is great, of guys who are like, wow, you really empowered me to move my body more and do things I wasn't doing before. So thank you. Like I feel like I love my body more by just moving it more.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, always say an example of what your body is capable of doing and being able to showcase that. Yeah, that's definitely a gift.
Thank you.
When is your new retreat coming? Like, how often do you have these retreats in the year?
So I usually do 3 to 4 a year. I'm doing 5 this year, and they start in March and they'll end in July. So I'm doing once a month. It's all about the water. I tried to do some in the fall last year, and the water is not as high. It's a freshwater creek, so it goes down as the heat goes up.
Oh, I
So
see.
there's a prime season. Like I was there for New Year's Eve, and it was beautiful, but it was a little wet and damp. So like we're there March through July. 6 guys, 4 guys at a time, sometimes 5, depending on if my partner is there or not. And hopefully we'll have a full season. A lot of guys come back every year. A lot of guys have been to like 3 or 4 retreats with me. So I know that like
Oh,
we're
wow.
delivering soon. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And like some of my older guests who you wouldn't expect, like I have a doctor in South Carolina. He's in his 70s and he was married to a woman his whole life. And his connection to his body was always really present when he was in nature. He was a big hiker and he'd go in the woods and jerk off. And when he found my work, he's like, I've been looking for a place to do this. He flies out every year to join us. He's Dr. Bill. He's a Southern gentleman, and he's just the sweetest little thing. But he doesn't have any place like this where he's from to be that free. And it's been so great to see him, just let loose.
Yeah. No, that's
So we have
exciting.
5. We have 5 this year. I have a bunch of them. They're already sold. Guys that are coming back for sure. June will sell out first because it's the most popular month, weather-wise and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing one in July too, which will be a full summer month, which I've never done. And we have inner tubes in the river, and we're in the water every day. It's really awesome. I
That's
mean,
really cool.
actually, we're gonna talk offline. I'm gonna try and get you there. I think it would actually be really great for you.
No, I think it would actually really great for me. I don't often do retreats like that, and I've researched some in the past, and I was just like, you know what? I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm open to it, and I don't think I had been in the past. It's just my own like sexual journey. But the idea of just like being out in nature in the summertime, and I feel like I've discovered that recently about myself, like just being an exhibitionist. Um, that I am. And I think I feel like this would like just enhance that aspect of like who I am as an individual. And I feel like I could really benefit from it.
Yeah, and there are many places. I mean, not it's the property is breathtaking. There are many places you can be in this nature setting, fully naked with other guys who want to do the same thing. It's like, I feel
Yeah.
so cool that I've been able to create it. And now in this home, it's a really like welcome to my house experience. And so I care to every detail. Like they get monogrammed robes when they arrive, so you don't have to pack clothes because we're naked 24/7. So everybody gets a
That's what I
robe when they
was
check
saying. I was
in.
like, who these clothes?
You don't need anything. I like have shampoo, toothpaste. I have everything. You show up with a toothbrush and an empty backpack because you got to take your robe home, and you're good. And it's such a that connection to just that ability to just connect to nature and disconnect from reality is also just
Yeah.
really healing. We all need it. I mean, we're gonna talk about it. I think the things you mentioned about noise and like getting outside more and your body loving your body, this could be really
Yeah.
fun for you. And then
No,
you eventually sort of you forget you're naked when you're living naked 24/7. It just becomes fun. Like it's just like you feel like a little kid almost.
yeah. I feel like it's
All the ins
playful.
all the insecurities, all that sort of goes away really fast after the first day. I mean, there's definitely like first day jitters for some guys, but you sort of really get over it all when you live it and to be around other naked men, to be seen daily, and it's really cathartic because all those insecurities really do melt away.
Do you ever have people that go and they're just like, holy shit, this is way too much for me. I'm freaking out. Like, how do you like have people kind of be like, calm down, everything's gonna be fine, you're safe here? Like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, we've only had in 17 events, we've only had 2 sort of freakouts. I wouldn't call either of them bad.
Mhm.
One just really was not in the right mind space, like showed up in Gucci loafers and like Louis Vuitton. And
Oh
so
no.
So he just was not prepared for this is a we're not showering on purpose. We are getting sweaty on purpose. We are getting dirty on purpose. So he just was really not ready to be there, and he left early. That was a bummer, but it was actually so much better because he was so uncomfortable. So the group was able to let go once he left because he kept everybody uptight because he was unwilling to let go too.
Yeah.
So those are the only like freakouts I've had where someone maybe hasn't been willing to be as open, and it can poison the group, and so it's usually just a side conversation of like, listen, we're all here to sort of test what we know or how we think or how we think about ourselves, and all these things are challenging for sure. That's why these things come up. I'm asking you to talk about your entire body differently, right, and
Yeah.
re-examine beliefs. That changes how you feel, but if you just sort of work through it and keep moving through it, it's all temporary. All emotions are temporary, and it's how we manage them and get through them. So it's just keep it moving.
Oh, well, I feel like that's a constant reminder to just be more mindful of my emotions. It's one of my 2025 like goals this year is to like just understand, like just notice the emotion and just kind of like keep it moving, not have it be like this factual thing. Um, but I think also too, like talking about this and having people understand, like you're not like I think a lot of the times people will see these retreats and think like, oh, I'm gonna go there to like get laid, have sex, and like kind of have this be like this group sex thing. And you're just like, no, 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 that's not really the focus. Like the focus is really inward and like, kind of detoxing like bad stuff that you've been perceived as or like bad stuff within yourself. And I think it's good to like communicate that to people and not have like this expectation of other things.
Yeah, it does clearly say our events do not encourage sex in any way, and so no penetration, whether it's in the mouth or otherwise. And
Mhm.
that's for so everyone's safe. It's so that we have straight guys who come. I had a rabbi come to class once, the one with the curls and everything. So like, I don't know where people are coming
Nice.
from, and I want them to feel safe to enjoy their body. And so that's why we keep it to it's a hands only organization.
Yeah. Hands only is
That's
good.
that's a clear distinction for people too. That way they know, I had a conversation today with a guest who's worried about telling his husband he wants to go and respecting their boundaries. I said, listen, all boundaries are respected. My partner and I are monogamous, but we don't consider masturbation like a sexual cheating thing. That's for us, like I said, it's social. We jerk off
Yeah.
with our friends, how we that's how we roll. So
Yeah.
I had to
Everyone's
remind
different.
people that, yeah, I had to remind people that that's what this is about. There's no sex. There
Yeah.
used to be in the past when I had the bigger resort, what people did in their free time was up to them. But now in this small, intimate setting, we have to keep it safe for everybody.
Yeah, that's important. I also read that you're coming out with a book.
I am. I can't wait to send you a copy.
Talk to me about that. What was the motivation? What was the idea behind this book?
Just this work about what I'm doing with men and cock-centric programming and trying to celebrate the penis even more in different ways. And I did some research. I did an online survey. I had 450 responses in like a month. So it was a lot of data to go through. I had I think it was a 100 question survey.
Cool.
I had a lot of cool stuff to learn about people. And the response was the content and the responses was almost unanimously the same as a lot of debaters who responded or like people who contributed often had experiences where they had jerked off in a group as or with other men when they were younger and it felt no longer available to them and very similar threads as wanting to do this but not maybe having the ability to.
Mm,
So and there was such great data on it that and this questionnaire that I got that I thought this needs to be shared. And so in the book, I talk about the history of mutual masturbation, and like I did earlier with you about animals and different ancient societies. And then throughout the book, I share quotes and stories from this survey, of real stories that people shared. There's a
that's
lot of
cool.
personal net. Yeah, so it's like there's quotes, there's a lot of celebrity quotes, there's a lot of just fun ways to reframe. And I talk about my personal journey and this journey with Andrew and shame and how I started teaching this stuff on the internet and how I got here. And then there's a cool part where, I told you about the cock portraits you do at the retreats where I'm an artist and I love to paint and draw. And I wanted to create an intimate conversation with people in my life about this work because I don't hide anything. Once I decided I was doing this, I told everybody I know. Um, and I think that was really important for me. So to further the conversation in my world, I asked important men in my life if I could draw their dick in a portrait series. And I asked like my dad, my cousins, friends I went to high school with that are straight, friends I went to high school with that, I haven't talked to in a decade. It's like a variety of people to sort of see who would be willing to. And in the book, I also talk about that conversation, how it went, and how my dad sent me a dick pic for the first time, and why I wanted to draw his dick so I can show that there's no shame. Or so it's a fun project. There's this two sort of parts, and then there's also about 100 photos from Jordan Service, who is an amazing photographer here in LA. And I casted like 8 guys one afternoon, and I said, the job is I'm going to pay you to jerk off in a group, and we're going to take some fun photos. And it's a great group of like all different colors, all different sizes, and every photo, everyone just having the best time. So great story, cool stuff, amazing photography, and drawing of my dad's dick. And so
That's
I'm excited.
intense, bro. Fuck. Not a lot of people can say that.
I know. It's been because it's going to be sort of a controversial thing, I think, to share for many reasons.
Yeah.
When you work in this environment, you're vilified all the time for being either gay or sexual or whatever it is. So I'm
Yeah.
used to it, and I've actually been sort of sitting on the project for about a year. I've been just sort of like, am I going to put it out? How am I going to do it? What's going to happen? And I finally said, you know what? These stories will help people. And the only people that I've read it at this point are the straight men in my life.
Okay.
So I made it a point to ask like straight men to read like the first couple chapters and be like, what is your response to this? And I purposely say the word cock 500 times in the book. Like it's purposely provocative, and I'm very detailed about different dicks and my attraction to them and why I think it's natural.
Yeah.
I asked my straight friends, like, what do you think? And they're like, dude, I wish I read something like this when I was younger. A lot of them were like, made me hard the whole time. These like married with kids, but they're like, I think you're onto something. I think this would help people. So when I sort of got that response from people that were straight, like my friend Thomas and Neil, who are I draw them in the book, and
Hmm.
it was like there's something there. I just wanted to share it. I had this cool stuff, and it's sort of a hopefully a way to reach more people with my message too. And so I hope it's well received. It's called Homosocial, Bonded Through Cock, and it's coming out digitally this month. I'm like
Oh, nice.
60% done right now. I literally have because I'm doing it all myself too. I'm a psycho that way, so I'm really print formatting each page now so that when I go to print, it's ready. They'll be able
Yeah.
to download it online. There'll be exclusive content, all kinds of fun stuff. And I think we're gonna have a little gallery show at Circus of Books about the book and all
Oh,
the
that's so
photos.
cool. That's a really
Yeah.
great place to have it. I love Circus of Books.
Yeah, I actually run their social media. So
Oh,
it's an
nice.
easy
I was bummed
challenge.
out when they closed down the location in Silver Lake. Now it's like a weed shop, I think.
Yeah, we're in the historic one, right in the
Hmm.
WeHo.
That was a bummer. No, well, the WeHo one's still there, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Not the Silver Lake
On
one.
La Jolla and Santa Monica.
La Jolla and Santa Monica. I gotta go back. I haven't been there in a while.
Been there since the 60s. And it's been a gay adult store since the 80s. So it's like 40 years old.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't go away. I hope it just stays there.
We're trying. I work with the owner as the brand, and so it's an example of how we're constantly blocked and denied for sharing stuff that we share, on internet and Meta, and we're blocked on like every channel as we can just for sharing sex positive things. So it's been interesting to like figure out how to promote that brand.
Yeah,
I
it's
recently
hard.
like did. It's hard. It's hard. It's constantly even with New World was originally the naked trainers, and I thought that's the easiest thing to remember, the naked trainers. But the word naked gets you in a lot of trouble in the world. It's
Yeah,
wild.
that's so when I was doing the research, that's what came up to me. And I remember hearing that naked trainer. I think Milk and Coach might have like mentioned it to me. Like we've talked a while and he'd always mentioned like naked trainer, naked trainer. So I remember like hearing that phrase before, but then like your New World, so it's completely different, but the same person. So I was like, oh, I can see the connection.
Yeah. So the naked trainers was the first name, and it was really I thought the easiest way to brand a lot of different things. But
Sure.
having the word naked is really like credit card companies don't like it.
Yep.
Social media doesn't like it. Like everything, it caused a lot more havoc. So we rebranded as New World just last year.
Great. I'm assuming that you're having more success with the
It's
name.
a different approach. Yeah. No, there's less drama for sure. Less censorship going on.
Yeah, we don't like censorship, bro.
It's wild. Like I had my credit card processing company shut down my website once because I had too much pubic hair showing in the photo.
That's wild. That's
Wild.
so silly.
I'm not, my business is very small. This is a work of passion. It's a lot of work to do these retreats. I drive,
Yeah.
it's big, it's so much work. And every time I do it, I'm almost like, I'm not going to do it again. It's like, it takes so much out of me, but I know it's valuable. So I still go through all these hurdles because it's just the seeing the reward on people and what they get out of it. It's all worth it for me.
That's great. I love that.
So I'm going to still fight the censorship. I'm still going to get dicks up as
That's
much as
what
I can.
That's what we need. If people like us, like people who are in this industry, like people who are sex positive, like it's been happening since the history of time. Like just people just like advocating and creating our own spaces. And I was just interviewing another person before you. We're just talking about that. We're like, yeah, like no one's gonna do it for us. It's all for us by us, and we got to continue to it. And people who are listening to this podcast, like go support NuWorld, support your sex workers, like if you're looking at porn, if you're loving sex, like just do it, contribute like in some form or fashion. Like it's a small community and we need to empower each other to keep promoting the good work.
Yeah, it goes back to being kind and being like a good guy and like, helping each other out where you can. It's just, it seems so natural, but
Yeah, help
it
a
takes
brother out.
effort. Yeah. I'm always ready to lend a hand, buddy.
I get that vibe from you. No, it's a
I,
good vibe.
I mean, I always say I'm a big brother. I have four siblings, and I'm definitely the big bro. Like I have a big dick, and I know it's bigger than some, and I like to share it and wave it in your face. And it's for me, it's all playful, and it's like it's cute. Some of my clients, they're like, "I've never touched a dick that big." And I'm like, "Great! I'm so happy that I gave you that for the first time." As silly as that
Yes.
sounds, like why not share that? I don't think that goes back to like shame. It's just our bodies, and they feel great, and they're great to share
Yeah.
together.
Well, I think it's nice of you to you're just like, here, such a big dick.
But I used to literally usually wake everybody up with coffee and a boner. I'm like, hey, and I'll usually coffee in my hand so they can grab a dick on the way in.
Nice. Well, that's something to be expected. There you go. That's a really great selling point. Coffee and
Oh
bonus in the
yeah,
morning at your retreat.
it's true.
Where can people find your stuff? Like, give me all the socials.
Yeah, thank you. You can find me on newworld.men, not .com, because we're a new world. New world is actually a double entendre too. New is the word means
Because
naked in French.
it's spelled NU. It's NU world.
NU. Yeah,
Yeah.
so NU world is a naked in French. You can think of that if you forget.
Mm.
Newworld.men. So it's like naked world, new world. And we're on X, on Instagram, and my handles across the board are Jason Wimberly, and I have a really robust life. I do a lot of fun stuff. I perform. I do all kinds of things all over the country. So if you want to find out more about me and what I do, you can find Jason Wimberly. It's like Kimberly with a W.
Yeah. Love it.
I'm easy to find.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, thank you so much for like talking to me about your stuff. I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of men can benefit from it. I encourage people who are listening to this pod to go check out the New World. And if you're so inclined, to book a trip. He's holding them for 5 months.
And we're going to talk about getting you there. I'm going to offer you a family special to get you because I just think you would understand it so much. I can see it connecting for you.
If you see it for me, then I see it for myself. I love it.
5 days working out, jerking off, having gourmet food in the woods. It's pretty awesome. I always say you're not living if you haven't shot a load with five other naked dudes in the woods before.
I don't think I've ever done that, so maybe I'm not living my best life yet.
It's time.
I think it's definitely time. All right, y'all. I want to thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you, Jason, for being my guest and chatting with me. It was so great to speak with you today.
This was super fun. Thank you. And I talk a lot, but I'm just really passionate about this work. So thank you for letting me ramble when I do.
I mean, that's the point. You do all the work. It makes it really easy for me.
I always tell people, like, if I get to talk about myself, you got to stop me because there's so much I want to say all the time. So thank you for giving me a place to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're doing really cool work, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you, sir.
Um, you're welcome. All right, thanks everybody for listening to this pod. And we will see you on the next episode of the Bate Escape. Bye. Oh shit, penis.
Bye.
Hey, what's up? It's basically how much did you love listening to Jason talk about his business. Isn't it so much fun? I feel like a lot of men would benefit from a retreat like this. If you haven't yet, go check out the website newworld.men, NuWorld.men. He has a bunch of like beautiful pictures of where this retreat is held. I mean, it looks really woodsy. There's a creek. I mean, you get to be naked for an entire week all day. I mean, who wouldn't want that? You get to play with your penis and masturbate and just socialize. And it sounds like a really great thing. And if you haven't yet, go check out his book that is available now for sale on his website. It's called Homo Social Bonded Through Cock. You can get a digital copy. Um, it's full of 90 colorful photos of naked men shot in collaboration with a photographer, Jordan Service. It's 200 pages of cock-centric entertainment and 18 original hand-drawn cock portraits, which I look forward to seeing this because I would like to see the portrait of his dad's dick and how that all went down. Again, thank you so much for listening to the pod. I really hope that you loved listening to this episode. As always, thank you so much for subscribing, following, commenting, and sharing. It really helps with visibility. I'm your host, BC Bader. And again, thanks for listening, and I will see you in 2 weeks on a new episode of the Bate Escape podcast. Later.